Hello. We'll see who's with us tonight. It might be short, but I want to use a stamp set that I've only used one time. And so we'll see if anybody catches us live or if I'll just make a card and post it later. Jeff is playing a game in the room too, so he said he's going to try to be quiet. He's making faces at me. Okay, I'm going to get on the computer to see if it's working. You can tell me if you're here. My internet's going to be slow. I want to use this one. Cozy Cottage. I have an idea that I want to try with copper embossing powder. Hi, Kayla. So we're going to use this one because that little cottage is so cute. So it's been a long weekend, so I don't have a ton of energy, but because I didn't do it last week, I wanted to not cancel again. So I am finding myself, and I'm going to click. There's a very unflattering picture of me. It's on the screen right there. What are you up to tonight, Kayla? Oh, you're at Mom's. Fun. You just go for the weekend? Okay, we'll see if it works. Just hanging out? Okay, so I might flip you over to the other way so we can just get started. I had a friend that went live. She went live a couple of different times this week, who I used to watch every Saturday night. Her name is Edna, and I'm pretty sure she's from Georgia. Not 100% on that, but she's, oh, that's fun. You get to stay a long time. But she hasn't been coming live for a really long time, and so she has been coming back at really odd times during the week. And so sometimes it's in the middle of the day and sometimes it's early in the morning. And so this week she was able to do her Saturday night like she used to, and she did 2 different cards with 2 different types of sets, and she embossed both of them and then did different techniques of coloring them in, and it just looked so cool that she was embossing such a big image to do it. And so I thought I would try it with this cottage because I thought it might. The last time I did it, I used the Stampin' Blends, which I'm very tempted to use because I think that with the embossing that it would add a lot more to it. But she used her blender pen and then she used her aqua painter, and so I might try a couple, so we'll see. But I'm gonna flip around. I'm gonna cover you up. All right, I'm trying not to go too crazy. And I did not adjust my camera. We'll flip. Might slide my post just a little bit more. I never know how it changes so much during the week, but that's all right. We'll try it right here, and then I'll move my grid so I'm kind of in the frame there. All right. There I see myself change. I was like, I'm still covering up the screen. My camera's just a little bit slow behind. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this, but we're gonna do this set. I'm gonna move my light. Sorry for that weird noise. I like the extra light that it gives, but it makes the glare a little bit awkward. All right, so this stamp, I'm pretty sure it'll be fun for you to hang out with Mom. I'm sure she'll love that. We're going to use our E block for that because it fits really nice. These are the two blocks that I use the most, the E and then the D. I only have a few Stampin' Up! Blocks, but I love them. And so far, I've been able to just have a couple that really work with a lot of the different sizes. I have the bigger one, the biggest one I think that they have, but it's so big that I just mainly use it for the background stamps, and that's not very often. So I'm gonna grab my Versamark, and then I'm going to, I just washed one of my Stampin' scrubs so that it's fresh and clean, and so I'll get that ready for the Versamark. My cat's probably going to think she needs to come and play too. But before we do this, I'm going to take this grid paper and I'm going to fold it in half. And so that it will be ready when we use our embossing powder. Okay, so first I'm going to get some, I think I want to get the shimmery white cardstock. You're getting to watch me on the fly tonight, because I sort of have what I want in my head, but I didn't really get anything ready 100%. So we're gonna kind of do this as we go. All right, so I have my cutter, my trimmer, and I'm kind of thinking I want to use my layering ovals. And so what I want to do first is kind of measure out which, now mine are very loose in here, so they're not going to be all stuck on like normal, because I just kind of use them and then throw them back in. But I think I want to use the largest oval, and so it'll just cut off a little bit of the trees and stuff. I might even do the largest of this, and then we'll have that in the background. We'll see. Because I kind of think I want a little bit of an embellishment behind it. So maybe we'll use those two. These two. Okay. So then let's do, I'm going to take this one and just kind of measure. I just want to get the most out of my shimmer paper, and so I want to take it and give it a little bit extra room, but not a ton, so that I can use that again. I'm actually using the shimmer paper for Braden's birthday invitations, which I really need to get done, but they always take the back seat because I want to do new things, and so little by little I'll get them done, just a couple at a time. We have like a week and a half till his birthday, so I'm not quite in the danger zone for getting them out. It's not like the night before or anything. All right, I'm sorry if I'm shaking you. I'm just taking my Versamark, and I like to flip the block upside down with the bigger stamps and just coat it pretty good. And then I closed it back up, and I usually will set it aside. And then I am going to, since I measured it, I knew it was going to cut it off a little bit. And so it's not a huge deal that it doesn't, it's not going to get the whole image, but it's going to get what I want of it. So that is the image. I'm just going to set that off to the side, and then I'm going to pour my copper embossing powder, and I am pretty generous because it all goes back in here anyways. And so I will just tap it, and then that is that will look like before we heat set it. And then I'm going to just fold it up and put it right back into the container. And sometimes it works and sometimes I make a mess. So for now, I'll just set that aside and I can work on the rest later. I have not used the copper very much, and so it is still pretty full in there. So I'm gonna just hook up my heat gun really quick, and then I'll try to go up close so that you can see that as well. So just had to unplug something really quick. Okay. So we are going to just hold that up. So that image has a lot of detail. So I'm really excited to see how the embossing will work. So I'm gonna try to do this so that you can watch it, because that's the most fun. So it's gonna be a little noisy. And I'm gonna try to keep my fingers back, but hopefully you can see it changing. There it goes. You can kind of watch it. That's the most fun. It's so fun to watch it. So I'm just doing the top part first. It takes a little bit for the heater to warm up all the way, but you can kind of watch it change and it's really shiny. And then I'm just going to follow it down all the way. I'm going to go over those little things again. But that is what it looks like up close. It's so cool. All shiny. I mean, that would look really pretty just by itself with that copper shimmer, but it's so pretty. So now I'm just going to clean my stamp in the Stampin' Scrub. I usually, when I spray the cleaner, I will put it on the lid, and I usually keep that pretty consistent. So that way that stays clean. And I hadn't cleaned it in so long that it was starting to pick up color when I would clean it even. So I just washed it with soap and water. And so I'll set that heat gun aside, and then I'm going to get out my Big Shot. I'm going to move some things around here. Okay. So there's that. And this one, you can see look how loved this is. It cracked this week. So I'm just gonna use it until it cannot be used anymore. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that all of the house gets in it, but it's gonna cut it out kind of around it's gonna cut off part of the tree. So thankfully, these plates, they're super cheap. I have extras, but they just last so long. So I use them until they literally will not go in the machine anymore, that they've gone that crooked. Like eventually, this is not gonna fit through the machine because it's gonna be off kilter too much. And so, but for now it will work. So that is what I wanted to do with the house. So I just cut the house out, and that will just be left behind. So this is what I'm gonna color in, and I haven't decided yet what tones that I'm gonna do with the copper, so I might like pull out my blends and have you help me pick which colors I should use if you want to, because there's a few different color choices that I could do for it. Actually, trying to think of what this is the card that I made for today's card, and so if I'm going off of my same A Card a Day in May and choosing one item from this card to use, then I could, I think. So this is the one I did for Saturday, and then this is the one that I did for Sunday. So the color that I took from this one was the Lemon Lime Twist that I used in that ink, and so I used that in the frosting. And so actually I think I might go with a navy, the navy tone in this, because navy's gonna look really good with the copper. So we'll focus on the navy cardstock or ink, and then we'll build our colors off around that and see how it goes. So if you see any colors that just stand out to you, we will choose them that way. So this is the container that I have my Stampin' Blends inside. So we'll leave them like that. Okay. We'll probably get our Big Shot back out after we do some coloring, but the coloring sounds really fun to do right now, so we'll do that. I might, if I can figure out how to zoom it in, I might try if I don't shake you like crazy. Awesome. Okay, tell me if it gets crazy. So these are the navy color. So if we're gonna incorporate navy, we will use those first. And then I will most likely use the Old Olive for the green, the greenery. And I will probably use the Smoky Slate gray color in there. And I'm a sucker for a red door. So I usually gravitate towards the red. These are like my go-to colors, if I'm really like being honest, if anyone didn't know that. I love the Old Olive, the Night of Navy, and the Cherry Cobbler. Those are my favorite shades to use. I'm sorry, I'm very hoarse right now. Let's see. There are, we could probably do some brown tones with the roof. We could probably do the crumb cake color for the roof. That's ivory. Let me find my other crumb cake. Let's see what these are. There it is. The crumb cake. And let's see. I think that's where we're gonna start. So we'll see. If you saw a color that you thought that would be really fun to see what it would look like, then you can let me know. So we will start with this color palette. And I think that even though the house is like got bricks on it, I'm gonna see if I'm even in the screen. Need to move them up. I forgot that I had zoomed in, so now I need to be a little bit more careful with where I am. I'm so sorry. Okay, at least I noticed before I started coloring. That would have been awful. Okay, so these are the colors that we're gonna use. And I think that I want to do a blue house. I mean, Joanna Gaines would probably do that, right? So we'll do the cobblestone in like gray, but we'll do the bricks down here. We'll do those in the dark navy, the dark night of navy color. And then I'm gonna try really hard not to get my like head in the frame, but I'm actually thinking I might switch things up and do a teal door, because that looks like it would be really fun. So I'm going to color this frame. I'm just like listening to myself, and I sound so hoarse. I'm gonna see with a little tissue while I'm coloring to see if it'll come up a little bit. It's not too bad. So I might switch it and do the Bermuda Bay for the door, and do this for the frame. I'm just winging it. We'll see. So I'm gonna do the light for excuse me, for the rest of the house. I only had to go to one service today at church because we had Family Sunday, and there were enough other helpers that I wasn't needed for the nursery. And so it's like the first time that my kids haven't gone to both services in a really, really long time. So we took advantage and we didn't go to the first service, and we only went for the second one. And it was a really, really weird feeling to not be there for both. But what I'm going to do is I may completely decide that I don't like how this looks, so I'm just completely prepared for that to happen. I'm going to take the dark Smoky Slate, which is what we're using here, and I'm going to do these stones that are on the ground. And then I'm going to do random stones just along the fireplace or smokestack. And just give it a excuse me, give it a little character with some of those colors. Let's see. I'm going to use the brush for that one. There's a fine tip and then there's a brush tip, and I like the smaller one for doing smaller spaces. Like when I did the frames and things, that smaller one came in really handy for that. But when you use this brush tip, I feel like it is so much more smooth. Okay, so I'm gonna just to wipe it off some of the copper. I'm thinking that it is like covering it. I think I'm just learning something about our Stampin' Blends, that it kind of takes away some of the shine, so I need to be a little bit more careful. So if I'm going to color with the blends, I can't just go over the top of them, because it is going to take away the shine. So I have to stay in the lines, which is kind of hard to do sometimes, even in the frame. I hope I'm in the frame, because there's such a bad delay. We'll see. Okay. So we got to go to a graduation reception today for one of the students that graduated that goes to our church. So that was fun. Got to see a few people. And then my mother-in-law and brother and sister-in-law are here. And so I went and took a couple of pictures for them for the display that my mother-in-law has at her house. And then came back and had dinner, and we watched The Greatest Showman because my mother-in-law had not seen it before. And so that was fun. So we didn't get finished with that quite when I thought we were going to. But that's all right. So I have not done the inside of the windows before, but I kind of feel like it needs to have something in there. So maybe we'll do the light crumb cake on the inside just to give it a little bit of something in there. Like something's in that house. You might not be able to see what it is, but so we'll just color inside of these windows. And I'm so excited because these Stampin' Blends that I'm using right here have been out of stock. You've not been able to get them for like 2 months because they were so popular when they first came out that their manufacturer was not able to keep up. And so they ordered as many as they could, and then they got told, well, we'll make them, but it's going to take them a while for them to arrive. And so they were not expecting that to happen from the first order that they did. So they're coming back, and June 1st, you should be able to get them all again. And I'm going to tell you that there will be a good chunk. I can't show you the catalog yet, but if you'd like to see one and you're in Rochester, I could get one to you. Otherwise, I can mail catalogs to anyone who has made an order in my online store in the last 6 months. I'm going to mail them out. So if you would like a catalog from me, I will post the link to my online store, and any order that is made in my online store, I will send out a brand new catalog for you. So it is probably the prettiest, the most beautiful catalog that I have seen them do pretty much since I started 2.5 years ago. So it is worth it. So I'm just taking that darker Bermuda Bay and kind of blending it in to the color of the door. That may not be a color choice that many people do, but I like it. I may not even use these reds because I usually just do it for the door. But I think I'm good. And we might actually bring in some Pool Party for the sky. So I'm just taking the dark olive. I'm not even sure if I'm in the frame. I'm so sorry. The thing is too far away. I'm taking the dark old olive color and I'm just giving it a little bit of shading just in some areas of the trees. And then I'll do a little bit of the bushes just here and there. And then I'll do a little bit of the grass. So we'll see what kind of look that gives. I'm hoping it doesn't take away too much of the shimmer of the copper. I did it too much over that fireplace, and so it took the shimmer away. But that's all right. It still looks cool. So then I'm going to take my light old olive just to go in the trees. And the more you go over the dark area, the more that it blends the color into the lighter color. So, and then that back part there, it'll be sky here in a second. So, my friend took a flower scene or flowerscape and did, when she did her embossing. So we might have learned tonight that you need to use your aqua painter when you do embossing. Otherwise it doesn't take it. It takes away the copper. So we will just go with it for tonight. These really cute trees. I love the stamp set. This is one of my favorite Hostess stamp sets that's from the Occasions catalog. And that Occasions catalog, it retires on this coming Thursday, so the 31st. The Occasions catalog will be no more. So there's so many good things in there that I'm so glad that I got. But the excitement has just been building and building and building for this upcoming catalog. So I'm just excited for the new things to come out. So I just wanted to give that little dark shadow there. And then I'm gonna get out this is my light pool party. And then I'm gonna color the sky. Use the brush. So we will put together a little card. And this will be probably for tomorrow's card a day. I've almost made one card every single day this whole month. I really did not think it was going to happen, honestly. But it's always a goal I think is fun to have from the beginning. So it was something I still wanted to try for. I think that's cute. I think I like it. I'm gonna do a little bit of shading in the roof just to give it a little bit of shadowing. Just a little here and there over those copper sides. So fun. So I'll go a little bit closer so you can see how where I went over, I just brushed over the whole thing. It didn't like that very much, but it kept the rest of it pretty well. So we will turn that one into a card. So I'm going to try to zoom. I don't know how. Let me see. We'll see if I can zoom back out. Oh, that. I'm so sorry. Oh, there we go. I just had to move it. I had to tease ya. So the colors that I used were, I used the light and dark Night of Navy. I used the light and dark Crumb Cake, the light and dark Smoky Slate. I used the light and dark Bermuda Bay, the light and dark Old Olive, and the light Pool Party. So that is a super fun color combo that we used for that. So now I'm going to pull out a Night of Navy base cardstock. And sorry, I have to look over here for it. I have it kind of further away. There's the navy. We'll do that. That's going to be really cool. And then I think we're going to do some with the crumb cake too, so that'll be really cool. So we'll do the Night of Navy base, and then I'll do a panel of the crumb cake, and then I'll do the scalloped border of the Night of Navy too. So let's do some trimming, and I'll set that one aside. Yeah, I love how that navy looks with it, so we'll go with that one. Okay, so for today's card, do I want to go? Let's do it this way today. So I'm gonna take this 8.5 by 11 sheet, and usually I will cut it this way at 5.5, and then I would score it at 4 1/4. But today I think I'm gonna cut it at 4 1/4, and I'm going to score it at 5.5 with my scoring blade, and then it'll open this way instead. So just for a little bit of a change. So we're going to use this scrap for our scalloped oval here in a second, but I'm going to cut my panel. And since I am using the card this way, my panel I'm going to cut at 5 1/4, and then I will do this one at 4. And then we will have it go that way. I think we're also, now that I'm looking at it, we're going to use some copper thread, metallic thread. But I also want to use some
dang it.
some crinkled ribbon. Something must have happened that he didn't like. You get to hear a little bit of his commentary. I loved this crinkled seam binding ribbon. I used the Emerald Envy the other day, and it's retiring, so I want to use it while I can, and I just think it is the prettiest ribbon, and it's so hard to mess up. So we're going to do an accent with the metallic copper thread, and then we're going to also use this the crinkled seam binding ribbon of the Night of Navy. So before I do that, I want to cut out our scalloped oval. So I'm going to get my Big Shot back out, and I'm going to put the Night of Navy down in the Big Shot. I just do it close to the top. Then I'll put my really well-loved plate over the top of it. I use the good grief, the magnetic base plate, and then I have the precision base plate over the top of it. It just popped right off. I have used it this way for quite a while. The platform, the precision base plate, is really helpful if you have very intricate dies. For the oval and circles, it's not necessary to have the precision base plate, but since I use some pretty detailed dies fairly often, I just use them together most of the time. It is not very rare that I switch my plates. The only reason I usually switch my plates is if I'm using an embossing folder as opposed to a die cut. So that's what that little navy border is going to do. I think that adds so much to it. It's so cool. It's going to be beautiful. So I think but I would actually, I'm going to use this embossing folder, and I'm gonna look up really fast. I can't show you the inside of the catalog, but I can show you the front. That's allowed. It's mine. This one's mine. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. It's the 30th anniversary. It says it up here too. But this part is like glossy, and then this part is matte. It's so pretty. You're gonna love it. So if you want to let me know if you would like a catalog, just go to my online store and make an order there. So this embossing folder is from the Petal Pair combo pack. So it comes with both of these. So I'm going to use this one as just a little bit of an accent piece on my crumb cake layer. I thought that would be a really fun thing to do. So because we're going to do some embossing, I'm going to pull out my other Big Shot plate. So this is the platform that comes with it, and because this is a thinner embossing folder, so there's a couple different kinds. So we have just the regular standard texture impressions embossing folder. That's what these ones are. They're thinner. And then we have the 3D dynamic textured embossing folder. And so that gives you a little bit. I used this in one of the cards that I made just the other day. But what this does is this makes such a detailed image that it is raised a bit more. And so this one is still going to emboss it, but this one is going to really bring it up from that from the card, and it's going to pull that image out a lot more. So we're going to use this one because I want those little vines for our card. But in the new catalog, I will tell you that they are they're labeled so well that they have used different colors for to tell whether or not it's a textured embossing folder, a standard one, or if it is a dynamic one. And so I felt like that was super helpful to tell the difference between which ones are going to do that really detailed image and which ones are just the lighter embossed. And this one will show you the difference between them. I can show you the card that I used the other day too. So this one really does add some dimension. This is one side. Excuse me. And then this is the other. So when we put our card together, I'm probably going to do it like this and then put the ribbons behind it, and then the embossed or the metallic thread on there as well. So that's what I wanted for that, but I'll show you the card that I did the other day. This one is that embossing folder that is the dynamic textured, because you can see how much more that image is sticking up off the page, as opposed to what that looks like. So they both have a really beautiful image, but this one even more so, if I would have sprayed this one with a little bit of water first, it would break down some of the fibers in the cardstock to make that image. Oh, and here's that Emerald Envy crinkled seam binding ribbon that we're going to use tonight with the Night of Navy. So that is what that card looked like, and now we're going to set my Big Shot aside, and we will finish out our card. Let's set it up there. Get my grid paper back out to remind me where the camera is. Probably a little bit crooked. That's all right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to grab some adhesives and some scissors to finish up this card. Okay, so what this is going to look like, because I just like to feel it out a little bit before I glue it together. So we're going to have that go probably around there. This one, we are going to find my Snail Adhesive. So I'm going to put my Snail Adhesive on the back of this. And I think it's kind of cool how it kind of looks like a cottage from the back too. So smooth that out and get that little bit of a Night of Navy border on there. And then if I could remember where I put my dimensionals, that would be really great. I think I may have even put them away. Let me find them. And not there. Okay. So they've got to be close by. If I could find them. I'm so sorry. I thought I knew where they were. I'm going to look under all of my different layers that I have over here. They've got to be close. There they are on the very bottom. Because why wouldn't they be, right? When you're really wanting to feel like you're together, they would be hiding. Okay, so I'm using my Stampin Dimensionals, and I'm going to put them on the top and the bottom for right now, just to kind of give us a guide. And I'm going to take my paper snips and trim that ribbon because what we're going to do is we're going to tape just with some just normal Scotch tape. This is not even what I would normally have for Scotch tape. I like the thicker stuff, but I was in a hurry and I was out of tape and was not super paying attention at which kind that I wanted, and I was at the grocery store of all places that doesn't always have the right kind of tape, but that's what I got. So we're going to do that, and then on the back of our copper house we're going to use this metallic thread, and so I just fasten mine with some tape just to hold it from fraying like crazy. And what I do is I just spread my fingers out really wide, and I just go around. Usually it's like 6 or 7 times because I like how much it adds. And I mean, honestly, I've done this with several different cards and it usually goes way further than what I think. So once I have that measured out, I'll do it again, because sometimes my fingers don't do what I need it to do anyways. Okay, so we're gonna take that side too and put it behind our little house. Just kind of work it a little bit, make it wider, a little bit wider, a little bit wider. Okay, so I kind of want it to stick out all over the place. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I'm going to kind of tape it in here and there. Because as long as it has some of it taped down, then it can kind of stick out crazy, and it won't matter too much to the center. All right, so the rhyme and reason to what I'm doing is not much at all. if you can tell. So I'm just kind of taping down the loose edges. And I'm going to get this loose edge, because what I really want it to do is stick out all over the place like that. So before I tape that down, I want to stamp one more sentiment on. I'm going to do A Journey is Better with a Friend. That one is super cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Night of Navy, because that is the base that we're using, and I will ink that up, and we'll put that in the bottom corner here. And I'm going to really hope that I'm straight. I think it's going to be close. Good enough. It's not perfect, but it does the job. So we'll put that color away, and then I will get my Stampin' Scrub from over here. Sorry, I have things all kinds of spread out. And then I'm just scrubbing that up and drying it, and then it's good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take my Snail Adhesive, and because I have done an embossing layer with this embossing folder, you want to go all the way around all four corners, and I like to do the middle a couple of different times, just because you want it to really hold securely when you mail these cards, and with that thicker bit, you just want the adhesive to hold it down really firm. So what we're going to do is I'm going to peel the dimensionals off of that, and with that seam binding ribbon, I'm not even going to put a bow on it, because I feel like it does exactly what I want it to do by bringing some texture, and it just looks pretty on there just the way that it is. So I'm going to bring this over like right here, and I love how that thread is even going right where the sentiment is, A Journey is Better with a Friend. So that is our really simple, I mean simple for for an hour, sure. It has a lot of fun elements to it. I love the copper that we used for the embossing, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Enjoy your Memorial Day tomorrow, just remembering those that have sacrificed their lives for us, and I'm just really thankful to have some family members who have fought for our country, and members of the family who have been in the military, and I'm thankful for the sacrifice that the families make, and I hope that our focus tomorrow can be on just thanking those who have laid their lives down, and for our service. So I hope you enjoyed our card tonight, and that I will catch you again next week. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.